Welcome to our Enterprise Blockchain, the Path to Monetization workshop. My name is Guido Molinari, and I'm the managing partner at Prism Group. In today's workshop, we are going to be discussing with a number of industry leaders that are going to be joining us over the next 3 hours. I'm going to be kicking things off with a brief introduction about us, Prism Group, and presenting a couple of frameworks that we can use when thinking about some of the insights that the various speakers are going to be sharing with us this afternoon. And then I'm going to be leading the first set of fireside chats, where we're going to have joining us Mariana Gomez de la Villa from ING Bank, Dimitro Migliorati from Banca Mediolanum, Olaf Ransom from Finality International, and Riccardo Turbiani from Microsoft. After that, I'm going to be giving the floor to my colleague Rick Cataldo, who is going to be hosting a session with speakers joining us from Ireland and the US Coast. We're going to be having with us Jaron McGowan from WeTrade, Shyam Nagarajan from IBM, Chen Zer from Ernst & Young, and Daniel Wilson from TradeLens, and Mark Treshock from IBM Pharmaceutical Utility Network. After that, I'm going to be coming back, and with me, there's going to be another set of speakers joining us from the US Midwest and the Rockies. Among them, there's going to be Adam Caplan from Salesforce, Merrick Vass from United Healthcare, the Synaptic Health Alliance, and David Post from IBM, Trust Your Supplier. We're going to then take some key takeaways together with Kathy Barrera, our founding economist at Prism Group, and we're going to draw some conclusions together from today's workshop.
Across industries, and it surprised us a little bit, to be honest. So within the higher education space, credentialing, there's this sort of dream of this lifelong transcript that we all as individuals carry with us, and it has our university degrees or even executive education or bite-sized micro bits of education, our work history, and we carry it through life, and we own it, and we can consent to share that data with, a future employer when we look for a new job. And that's a really powerful idea, but it gets really complicated around wallets and decentralization. But blockchain has such potential there around sort of this verification layer. And yes, when I look at someone's resume and I want to hire quickly and efficiently, and I'm the employer and I want to move fast, or I'm the individual and I want to be able to, find that new amazing job quickly, there's so much inefficiency in the process of verification. So we can really solve that with blockchain and enable the individual to carry that with them through life. So that vision is amazing, but there's also smaller bite-sized chunks in credentialing that we found along the way, which is great because it's going to take a while to get there. And some of the smaller bite-sized chunks have been around enabling universities just to speak with each other, B2B, to share what an individual earned in a certain course, or what skills do they have if an individual is thinking about transferring between schools. So that's a really great sort of smaller use case where we've seen a lot of momentum. We can have shorter term wins as we build towards this grand vision. And then what's been really interesting in credentialing also is, like I was saying, across industries. So in field service, I am I'm driving big semis and big rigs, and I need to have certification that allows me to do that. Within physicians and hospital networks and insurance companies, is this physician, is this nurse certified to perform a certain operation or to do something specific within the ER? Are they mapped to a certain insurance plan? So we're seeing it again and again and again, and blockchain is just excellent technology that really allows for that verification layer and that trusted credential, and where it's clear value as seen by all our customers in terms of removing inefficiency and also valued by the individual. So we see tons of potential there and have a lot of interesting work happening.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, we have seen, as you said, credentialing popping out in so many different industries. And it seems to be an area where, there is a lot of current inefficiency, and we're clearly connecting everybody around a shared database would make a lot of sense. Now, in terms of the initiatives that Salesforce has taken, I know you're currently in Israel, right? What do you see in terms of next steps in your towards bringing this to market? Are you guys talking to customers? So what are the next steps for your organization in this path?
Yeah, sure. So we're in pilot, which means we're working with a range of customers and basically working with them to make sure they're getting huge value, but also getting tremendous feedback from them on where they see the best play for Salesforce, where we can help them the most, where we can drive the most customer success. And really what we're seeing is there's sort of two huge benefits we're seeing from our customers. One is just making it super simple, which is classic Salesforce platform. It's low code or no code. I can stand up applications within minutes, as opposed to you're at the infrastructure layer, you're dealing with all this blockchain technology, you're dealing with managing your own infrastructure. It's a whole mess. We actually try not even to use the word blockchain that much. It's really, okay, what's the business value? Let's get you up and running as fast as possible. Customers love to talk about audit trails and things like that, but we try to stay away from, we don't need to talk about consensus that much. We don't need to talk about infrastructure. So just making it super easy where someone with classic Salesforce skills can create the network, invite participants, create the data model, get it going. And then the other big thing that customers want is, they're like, okay, there's lots of blockchains out there and that's great. And sure, there's various benefits to different ones and various advantages. But the hook to the rest of your data from a customer standpoint is really the big key and value we're seeing. So not having your decentralized data sort of one place and your centralized data somewhere else, is linking it all together. So do you want to run analytics across this set of data and your decentralized data across the network to benefit all participants? Do you want to hook your AI, again, across all that data? Do you want to, in the field service example I was talking about, to trigger tickets? Something went wrong, we want to trigger a ticket and we want to apply sort of your service agents to something that's happening across the network. There's value in those connections, and we're seeing customers really, really appreciate that.
Yeah, and I imagine Salesforce, you guys are plugged in what, 150,000 customers already. So like you're in sort of this prime position that, adoption has been, the struggle, especially the technology hurdle that we've heard from many corporates, and your approach is something that, you ultimately as a customer, you don't really even know, maybe it's blockchain. You just realize, oh, this is going to provide me value. It's going to allow me to your point, access data that I wasn't previously being able to access. So I do see, that clearly you guys can bring something new in terms of approach to developing networks around this technology. Now, Adam, of course, we can't ignore the world out there. We are online this year at Consensus instead of, being sitting in New York City. How has the COVID outbreak affect the Salesforce initiatives around blockchain? Has there been sort of a refocus of certain initiatives? Have you guys, sort of stepped back and thought, okay, how do we dedicate the resources in a more, COVID effective way? What has been sort of the take of the organization so far?
Yeah, sure. We've been brought into so many interesting conversations around COVID. And we're not specifically working on these yet, but the conversations are really fascinating. One is around contact tracing and blockchain just being, an excellent technology to complement that in terms of consent, in terms of privacy, even for people showing up to work and getting access to their office, or a field service worker getting access to go into somebody's house, or getting access to a building and showing green or red. Yes, I've been tested. Yes, I'm safe. And then one thing we've been working with, it wasn't around COVID, but just to give an example of something that I think is super interesting. One of our pilot customers is UC San Francisco, and it's an amazing hospital. And we've been working with them around, and an amazing doctor there, around breast cancer and how we can link basically multiple research institutions together, multiple labs together, because one of the goals there is to be able to get to a higher volume of patient data as fast as possible in order to get approval for new and exciting medications within the breast cancer space more quickly. I mean, blockchain is fantastic technology, not only track patient consent across the network, but to enable the sharing of this data between physician, between hospital, between clinical lab. So it's really interesting to think about, parallels to that in the COVID space, where, hey, if we're trying to get to new interesting use cases of existing medications, for example, for COVID, how do we get to higher volumes of data that we can trust and make sure we don't end up with these little populations of patient data all over the world and try to connect them to move faster, let alone track the consent of patient data. So we think that's a really interesting space to think about. But right now, we're so focused on our existing success of our customers that those are right now conversations. and we haven't yet like placed bets on those things or anything like that.
Yeah, and I imagine, building on that, you see also in the vaccine development, there are so many efforts globally, and something like blockchain could connect, to your point, the different tests that are being done on patients.
Yeah. I was going to say where Salesforce is really, I think, doing some amazing things around COVID is with something we have called work.com, which is basically this command center where it helps you as a company get back to work. And we're doing some really awesome things there. But that's for a conversation for another day.
Yeah. Well, Adam, I think we're out of time, but this was great. Thank you so much for joining us today. If people want to follow on and learn more about what Salesforce is doing in the blockchain space, where they can get informed?
Yeah, well, we have a Trailhead platform, which is our learning platform, where you can go to our website and learn all about our blockchain initiatives and what we're doing and how to leverage it within your company and how to test it and all that good stuff. So yeah, hit our website or reach out to me or reach out to our team, and we'd love to talk to you.
Wonderful. Well, Adam, thanks again for joining us. Hope we get to do this again in person in New York next year.
All right, Guido. Thank you so much. Great to see you.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.